gets old, and it's usually somewhere on the ride down, after you've left the cool pine forest behind and the desert starts opening up below you. The mountain slowly reveals Tucson in the distance. The temperature begins to climb, and the smell of pine gives way to the scent of creosote in the desert air. And in that moment, something happens. The world gets quiet. Not literally quiet. The engine's still rumbling beneath you, the wind's still rushing around your helmet, but mentally, quiet. The emails can wait, the phone calls can wait, the problems at work can wait, and for a little while, the only thing that matters is the road in front of you. The next corner, the next shift, the next mile. And that's something that's become increasingly rare in today's world. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Tombstone Rider. Today, we're riding one of Arizona's most incredible roads, Mount Lemmon. But I also wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind lately. Motorcycling changed my life, and I believe it can change a lot of other lives too. The problem is, sometimes the motorcycle community makes it harder than it needs to be for new riders to join us. I recently watched a video by Copperdog about how gatekeeping is hurting motorcycling. And it really resonated with me because I've seen it happen over and over again. Somewhere along the way, some riders forgot what it was like to be a new rider and what it was like getting your first bike. And you see the comments online and from some riders about what bike is acceptable, what brand is worthy, what riding style counts. But here's the truth. The road doesn't care. Mount Lemmon doesn't care. And that's what I want to talk about today. Why riding matters. Why we need to encourage beginners, and why every rider deserves a seat at the table. When I first started riding, I wasn't looking for a life-changing experience. I wasn't searching for enlightenment. I just thought motorcycles were cool. And like most riders, I wanted to experience the freedom everybody talked about. But something happened along the way. The motorcycle became more than transportation, more than a hobby, more than a weekend activity. It became therapy. Now I know that sounds dramatic if you've never ridden, but riders understand exactly what I mean. When you're on a motorcycle, your brain has no choice but to focus. You can't scroll social media, you can't answer emails, and you can't argue with strangers online. You can't obsess over yesterday, and you certainly can't worry too much about next week. The motorcycle demands your full attention, and because of that, all the clutter disappears. For many of us, riding is one of the few places where we're completely present. No distractions, no noise, just us and the road. And I think that's why so many riders describe motorcycling as freedom. Not because we're escaping responsibility, but because we're escaping distraction. And in today's world, that's a powerful thing. I've seen this happen with people of every age. I've ridden with guys in their 20s who just bought their first motorcycle, and I've ridden with retirees who waited their entire lives before finally getting the courage to buy that first bike. And you know what? The smile is exactly the same. It doesn't matter if someone's 25 or 75. The first time they roll through a beautiful stretch of road, the first time they watch a sunset from the saddle, the first time they experience that feeling of complete freedom, they get it. They understand. And that's why I think we should be doing everything possible to encourage new riders. Because every new rider has the opportunity to discover something truly special. Unfortunately, that's not always what happens. Sometimes they're welcomed, sometimes they're encouraged, but too often they're judged. And that's where the problem begins. We've all heard the comments. Maybe you've heard it yourself. That bike's too small. You'll outgrow it in 6 months. Real riders don't ride crotch rockets. That's a touring bike. That's not a real motorcycle, and if it's not a Harley, it doesn't count. And honestly, most of that stuff is complete nonsense. I've been riding long enough to know one simple truth. The best motorcycle is the one that gets ridden, period. A rider on a Honda riding every weekend is having more fun than someone with a $40,000 motorcycle collecting dust in the garage. A new rider on a Kawasaki 300 is building skills and confidence. A commuter on an electric motorcycle is experiencing the same wind and freedom we all love. Hey, they're all riders, and they're all part of the family, and they all deserve encouragement. And here's something I think experienced riders sometimes forget. Every single one of us was a beginner. Nobody was born knowing how to work a clutch. Nobody was born knowing how to countersteer. No one was born comfortable leaning through mountain curves. We all stalled. We all made mistakes. We all felt nervous, and we all had that very first ride. And chances are, someone helped us along the way. Maybe it was a riding instructor. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe it was a parent. Maybe it was a stranger at a gas station who simply said, "Nice bike." A few encouraging words can make a huge difference, and that's what we should be giving the next generation of riders. To all the riders out there, young, old, and everywhere in between, ignore the critics, buy what you love, ride at your own pace, and welcome to the family. And to the veterans, let's keep the gates open and encourage the ride. As we finish our ride down Mount Lemmon towards the valley floor, the air is getting warmer, perspective changes. You look back up at the mountain that you just conquered and you realize you're a slightly different person you were than when you started the climb. You're calmer and you're more grounded. That's the gift of motorcycling, and it's the gift that belongs to everyone willing to grab the handlebars. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below and tell me about your very first bike or a time an experienced rider gave you a word of encouragement. Let's build a community that we can all be proud of. Until next time, keep the rubber side down, stay safe, and I'll see you on the road.
In the same old mess, singing hallelujah songs over and over again, thinking one of these days I might find myself in the mirror at the mall at the consumer shelf. One of these days, such a funny phrase, when the hell did I start saying all of these strange things? And I'm so tired of being tired. I'm so tired of being tired.